congratulations to FC Barcelona on your 28th, if not mistaken, La Liga title. And you got to say, over the course of the season, it's merited. It's completely warranted. Barcelona win 2-0 against their local rivals, 𝙎𝙊𝘾𝘼𝙎𝙾, in the Catalan derby to win the La Liga title for the second time in the last 2 years. Because 2 years ago under Xavi, they did the same thing. And I remember they went and did a little circle dance at the center of the pitch. And, to say the least, the Espanyol fans did not quite like it. They tried doing a similar thing. They were celebrating. All the players went onto the pitch, and they tried doing a similar thing. And the funny thing was that first and foremost, you had 𝙀𝙀𝘾𝘼𝙎𝙀 as soon as the final whistle went. You had 𝙀𝙀𝘾𝘼𝘾𝘼 telling get inside the change room. 𝙀𝙀𝘾𝘼𝘾 understood the assignment, went inside straight away. All the other players, though, they went onto the pitch. They started celebrating, dancing, doing all this stuff. And they got into it with the Espanyol players, etc., so on and so forth. So much so that the whoever's in controlling the Espanyol stadium and whatnot, the groundsmen, they turned on the sprinklers, obviously to try to get the Barca players off the pitch. And at the end there, I will say 𝙀𝙀𝘾𝘼𝘾 was basically at the end of it, right before at least my ESPN feed cut out, was basically yelling at the Barca players to get off the pitch, which, I don't know. I feel like, I guess I sort of understand that, yeah, you're sort of rubbing it in, especially to your local rivals and whatnot, but it's like, at the same time too, bud, like you've won the game, you've won the league, you should be allowed to celebrate. I don't have an issue with it. If Espanyol fans are so salty about it, your team should have been better. Well, as soon as you go and you win, yes, is it the most sportsmanlike thing? No, but that's sports. They're not going and making a mockery. They're not mocking anything of the club. So I don't know. I just find it like, if you're a Barca player, you've won it, you should be allowed to celebrate on the pitch if you want to go and do so. Now, maybe going and making mockeries and stuff like that, etc. Maybe that's too far. But just being allowed to celebrate a victory, I don't know. I don't get it. Hey, maybe if you disagree with me, I don't really have a skin in the game here. Barca's not my team, so I'd be curious how Barca fans and other fans see it. But to go onto the game itself, though, not going to lie, not the best of Barca performances today. So a 2-0 win, Lamine Yamal scoring an absolute screamer in the 53rd minute, and Fermin Lopez scoring in basically the final touches of the game in the 95th minute. And Cabrera getting a straight red card in the 80th minute, which we'll get onto every single one of these plays overall. But I just want to overall go and look at, the stats and the momentum. If you go and you look, I actually thought that a 2-0 result, in fairness, I think is a bit harsh on Espanyol. I thought Espanyol played overall, all things considered, actually quite well. I thought they had chances. If we look at the stats, which we'll get onto, let's go on to it right now. They actually had the higher XG in the game, a 1.30 XG to Barca's 0.71. Now, obviously, XG is not the end-all, be-all, etc., so on and so forth. But you look at the amount of big chances created, they had 3, and these were all in the first half. Barca had none. The Lamine Yamal goal that he scores is an absolute screamer. It's not a big chance, really low XG shot. Same thing with the Fermin Lopez shot, which is higher XG, yes, more dangerous, but also not, a clear-cut chance by any means necessary, where you had a couple of times Espanyol players going in and basically one-on-one or last-minute chances, last-minute ditch tackles and whatnot. So I thought, Espanyol overall played quite well, and probably should like a 2-0, I will say a 2-0 scoreline flatters Barcelona, but based on how they played. Barca didn't look bad by any means or anything, especially taking into account the injuries and the fact that, basically, so long as you won the game, however you did it, basically guaranteed you were champions. You're not in the Champions League final and whatnot. So there's not really necessarily the biggest motivation to go on and do so. But hey, in fairness to Barca, they went and they did what they needed to do, and they champions. You got to go say over the course of the season, the title now. So they're on They are on 85 points, Madrid 78 points. So mathematically now it's obviously done. I guess you could say it was pretty tight title race in the end. Barca initially at the beginning of the season, I know they had a pretty significant lead, and then it dropped off, and then they came back, etc., so on and so forth. But I think over the course of the season, I think we got to go and say that the best team in the champion in Spain is definitely Barcelona. I think by the football, by just the consistency over the course of the entire season, even though they did have a dip to where I think Madrid at one point were points ahead. Even Atletico Madrid were above them at one point, but in terms of the consistency, the long game, they've definitely been there, and they've definitely been the most consistent team in La Liga. So kudos to them. But getting on to the game itself and the actions in the event itself, as I said previously, in terms of the stats, Barca, as you would typically presume, dominating possession, 75% possession to 25%. But as I said previously, in terms of XG, 1.30 to 0.71. Now, in fairness, all of these, I think, come basically, most of them in the first half. In the second half, Barca did create the better chances. But in terms of the big chances overall, shots, obviously Barca had more. Shots on target, Barca had more. But big chances created, all on Espanyol's side. And if they were a bit more clinical and had their shooting boots on, it could have easily been a 2-2 or potentially even a 3-2 game for Espanyol. So I think Espanyol will definitely go out of this feeling, I think, not feeling great, definitely, especially given that I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're themselves battling for relegation themselves, and 3 points, I think, guaranteed them the fact that they'd be staying in the Liga next year. So now, in their final couple games, Osasuna and whoever they play after that are basically going to be battling to stay up in La Liga. But I think they played well. But Barca sort of just did what was necessary. Not the most complete, not the best performance. But as I said again, if you look at Barca's starting 11, still a very strong starting 11 by any means, but you think of there's two starting fullbacks are not there. Parker Barsi didn't start. In terms of the midfield, I guess you'd say it's their best, and then the front line was the best. But again, you also think of Lewandowski was coming back from an injury. And starting with Lewandowski overall, I thought today he was, I got to go into, I thought he was pretty poor today. Didn't really offer too much. If you go and you look, goals, nothing. Total shots, 2, none on target, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, have 0.21. I don't know, just didn't really offer anything much from Barca. And I think definitely you can see that he's just, the injuries, you got to go and say he's been injured, yes. But I don't know, I just think even from Lewandowski, you sort of expect a bit more from him. But then obviously Barcelona in the second half, in the 54th minute, Lamine Yamal plays not quite a 1-2, but basically almost like a 1-2 with, if I'm not mistaken, it must have been, was it Dani Olmo that he plays it with? Yeah, Dani Olmo was the one who gets the assist. Dani Olmo plays it like a chip ball through. Dani Olmo controls it, plays it back to him. Lamine Yamal goes, does his specialty, cuts inside. And at this point, it's almost becoming like Arjen Robben, where he comes inside, cuts inside. You know exactly what he's going to do, and you just can't stop it. And honestly, it was an absolutely terrific and fantastic finish. A very, very good finish. Smacks it into the top net. I think that's 2 goals in 2 La Liga games. Now for Lamine Yamal, and a couple of games recently now in terms of goal scoring or getting an assist. So, I mean, Lamine Yamal's in absolute great form. The only issue I've got to go and say is that overall, this game, I thought it was you go and you say, based on the performance, he's got the man of the match, and probably deservedly so, but I don't think it was Lamine Yamal's best performance today. He got an 8.8, had the most dribbles, as you would typically expect from it, most duels won, and lost the most duels as well in the game. But I thought, like, today, the dribbling wasn't necessarily there. Sometimes he'd lose the ball, make bad passes, etc., and so forth. So of the last games that I've seen, basically ever since the Copa del Rey finals, probably, maybe with that final, the Copa del Rey final, probably his weakest performance. But all that to say, he's still gotten a goal and an assist today. So he's definitely been, if we want to go and say on recent form, really good. And that gets me on to the point where I'll definitely be making a video on this later on. But this whole Lamine Yamal, best player in the world, Ballon d'Or, all this stuff. Now, I want to make a more, as I previously said, long form, in-depth video about this. But if you want to go and say right now, in the last month or so, Lamine Yamal, I would go and say, even me, that he's been the best player in the world. However, over the course of the season, I think the PR is too much. The PR is too much. Lamine Yamal, over the course of the 2024-2025 season, has not been the best player in the world. Heck, he's not even the best player for Barcelona, in my opinion. You can put Pedri, you can put Rafinha up there. But I don't know. I just think the PR push is a bit too much. And low-key, as good as it is, all of this, I just think that now there's going to be the Barca PR, the social media, all this. I really want to enjoy him and so on and so forth. But hey, that's for another moment. I thought today he was good. He did what he needed to do, scored, got an assist, did his bit, man of the match performance. Can't really ask for him too much more from him. And also, you got to go and say, is pretty impactful in helping his side winning the getting the red card by Cabrera in the 80th minute, which, not gonna lie, looking at it first time, it looked almost as though Lamine Yamal was sort of faking it or like making a meal out of it. But then you saw the first replay and he got whacked in the chest and probably got the wind knocked out of him. But I also do think that he tried to exaggerate a bit, trying to get him off. And in fairness, let's say hey, the dark arts of the game. But I don't know. I think the red card's perhaps a bit harsh. I'm not sure. If it's given, the more and more I saw it, the more and more I said, hey, you know what? It doesn't really look all that great. He knows where Lamine Yamal is. He really swings an arm at him. If it's given, you can't really go if you're Cabrera, go and complain about that. It's reckless. It's dangerous. He's fortunate he's got him in the stomach. If he got him up higher, it's a different thing. But yeah, I thought maybe at the time it was a bit harsh, but the more and more I saw the clips, the more and more the replays, the more and more I said, yeah, maybe a red card was actually warranted. And then Barcelona, even though despite Espanyol going and getting chances late on, it was a 95th minute 𝙎𝙾𝘼𝘾𝘼𝙎𝙏 goal to seal the deal with another assist by Lamine Yamal. It was just one of them where I think Espanyol were committing a lot of their players forwards, long ball in. Initially, 𝙎𝙾𝘼𝘾𝘼𝘼 tries to go and take a shot. It's a good tackle. The ball basically comes Lamine Yamal's way. The defender tries to make a tackle, slides down. Lamine Yamal gets the second ball, plays an easy through ball for 𝙎𝙾𝘼𝘾𝘼𝘼. This is his first time. Bottom left corner, if I'm not mistaken, and bang, just like that. Barcelona have won the title. So it means that 2 La Masia graduates, 2 Barcelona Academy graduates go and are impactful in winning you the game and subsequently this season, the title. And that's what you got to go and say. Respect to Barcelona. I think nobody would have had them being this good this season. I think in my eyes, I got to go and say they overperformed. It now means that most likely what their season is probably done in terms of all the trophies they can compete for. They're not in the FIFA Club World Cup. So for Barca, it's to all the Barca fans out there. Congratulations, especially with Real Madrid, all the financial difficulties at the club and all this. You got to go and say chapeau l'artiste, respect for you, to all of you for a successful campaign and being the best team in Spain, hands down, going and beating what a lot of Madrid fans are going to have to say, the best team in the world. You know, club football, Spanish football was done for the next 5 years. Y'all should them out properly. So big respects to you guys. And I'll be interested in catching up on Barca in the next season in the future. But I don't think so much else for me to go and say. Stay tuned for that Lamine Yamal, Ballon d'Or, all this stuff. As good as Lamine Yamal has been, I just think that some of the PR and going and, pushing Ballon d'Or, saying Dembele's not worth it, I think is a bit overblown, and I will make a more dedicated long-form video discussing all that. But if you guys are interested and you guys did thank you guys for tuning on the stream. And if you guys are interested in me doing more, Barca, Real Madrid streams in the future, please do let me know. I know I've got a lot of my community is a lot of Barca, Real fans, so maybe it's something that I might do. And I don't catch a lot of Barca games typically and Real games, so maybe it's something I do more of next season. So please do let me know in the comment section down below. And also let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of Barca season. Do you guys think they are warranted champions of Spain? Where do you think they can go on from next season? If you're a Barca fan, let me know. Are you excited for the future? Where do you think you guys need to improve on, etc., so on and so forth? I didn't really mention in this video much, but I think the high line, I think it's just going to be something that I never fully got on board with. I understand that it works. It gets offsides. Again, I think in the first half of this game, didn't really work all that much, but afterwards, they were getting offsides. But also, there's just times where Espanyol, who I'm assuming is not the greatest team in Spain, etc., so on and so forth, but one ball, a clever ball, and if it wasn't for better finishing or better quality players, they're through there. And is there still perhaps a bit of naivete in that? But I think it's just the high line and whatnot. I think it's just something that I'm never fully going to be on board with. And maybe a lot of Barca fans, I would be curious to know if you're a Barca fan, the Barca fans who are not fully on board with this extremely high line, have you sort of just accepted it and been like, hey, that's the way you play. That's the way we play. There's not much that can change about it. I'm ride or die at this point. So I'd be curious to know your opinion on that. And that's basically it. Thank you guys all so much for tuning into the video. If you guys have made it to this point in the video, comment candle so that I know that you guys are OGs and you guys made it all the way to, I'm looking at here, we're nearly 14 minutes into the video. So if you guys comment candle, I'll make sure to leave a like on your comment. And I know you guys are OGs. You guys are proper, true fans of the channel. But anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for listening to the video. And it's been a pleasure as always. And remember, stay safe, stay kind, and stay blessed. Godspeed.